Welcome, welcome, welcome. This time I'll call the Paulding County Board of Commissioners work session for July 23rd to order and ask the Marshal, Tommy, if you'll bring the citizens wishing to speak list. If you've got a phone that's still on, it'd be a good time to silence it. Thanks, sir. And it's a delight today to have Lee Hurley with us to bring us our invocation. He is the Building Code Abatement Officer, and that's a very important job around Paulding County, and he's willing to come this morning and get our meeting started off right. Thanks for being here, Lee.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, in all fairness to me, they didn't give me a whole lot of directions on what I'm going to do here today. So when you don't give a preacher a whole lot of directions, it could be an eventful moment. But I'll be slow. I'll be quick. Rather, I'll take that into consideration. I won't take all your time. But when I was given the invitation to come do this, of course, I felt it an honor to come and speak before you and to be invited to this meeting. And as I was thinking about that, some scripture came to mind. I think almost instantly, God said, "Hey, tell them this." So I'm going to take just a moment to read a couple scriptures to you, if you don't mind. 1 Timothy chapter 2, starting in verse 1. It says, "I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in godliness and holiness." And the second scripture that I'll read to you goes along with that. It comes out of the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 2. And it says, "Do not be conformed to the pattern of this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and then you will be able to approve what God's will is, His good, His precious, and His pleasing and perfect will." Amen. Praise be to God. If y'all will at this time, go ahead and bow your heads with me in prayer. Father, as we stand in humble honor before you this day, I celebrate and find joys in the mercies and the love of your forgiveness and your grace that you pour out upon us that we don't deserve. Father, I ask that you put a hedge of protection around the board members, the county officials, and their families at this time. And as we set out today to discuss the official business of Paulding County, Jesus, I ask that you give each person your wisdom, compassion, to make decisions that would be for the long-term benefit of the citizens of this Paulding County. Jesus, I ask that you hold us accountable to each other and that we be found honorable and pleasing in your sight. And we just thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. And if it's this time, we'll recite our pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you.
Can't thank you enough, Lee, for being here and starting us off with the invocation. Okay. First item is minutes, of course. On July the 9th, 2024, we had a work session. We have the minutes for that, and July 9th, 2024 board meeting minutes followed, and that's available for your review on the back table. Under announcements this morning, a Team Paulding Animal Control update. We've got Miss Katie Shipman to bring some information about our animals.
Today to talk to you about some of the challenges that we're having here at Animal Control. As every other shelter, rescue, everybody in our field is absolutely struggling right now. Overpopulation is a serious concern that we have, especially here in the Southeast. We have seen over the last several years, post-pandemic, that it is very difficult to afford a pet. For the last year, we have stayed very full to the point of having to make decisions on dogs and cats that we never would have had to have made in the past. We've got amazing dogs, amazing cats here at the shelter, but sometimes their time runs out. We do everything that we can, just like every rescue partner that we have, and we try really hard to find a positive outcome, but sometimes we can't. We work very closely with hundreds of rescues in the country, and I am constantly getting the dreadful news of they're full, they can't help this time, they have nowhere to put them. They tell me that adoptions are too slow, that their pipeline, meaning their animals, are staying in their facilities much longer, where that's not allowing new pets to come into their systems. At that point, we have to make very difficult decisions, and we dread it every single time. We know that pet owners are doing the best that they can, but with inflation, with all of the challenges that this country is dealing with, pets often are put on the back burner, whether it be vet care, whether it be spay or neuter, whether it just be basic socialization. People do not have time. So we need to really try to figure out together how we can come to some sort of partnership, some sort of solution to be able to find these animals a positive outcome. Lately, we've been looking up some statistics. We have found that there is a 26% regression in returned pet owners, meaning a pet comes in as a stray, whether it's microchipped or not, and 26% of them are not going back home. That is a huge increase since before the pandemic. Adoptions are incredibly slow compared to what they used to. We have puppies, we have litters of puppies that are stuck here for weeks, and we cannot find homes for them. Also, heartworm treatment. There are a lack of vet care that people they can't do it. They're trying, and we try to find solutions. We try to find grants and other situations, but it's just not there right now. So please, if you have a pet, if you need help, you are encouraged to call Paulding County Animal Control. Let's work together. Let's try to find a solution for every animal that is in need right now. So if you are looking for resources, please contact us. We will do our best to assist you. For spay neuter information, for vet care information, there are websites that we can help you with, so please call us, and we will help you as much as we can.
Thank you, Katie. You're not in the room, are you? I'd be glad to have you in person. I forgot to introduce an elected official. Our Hiram City Council woman is Miss Doris Debbie. Thank you for being here, Doris. Y'all thought that Uncle Sam was the big recruiter, but we have a recruiter here in the county named Deidre Holden, and over elections and voter registration. So Deidre's going to come forward at this time and speak to us about a National Poll Worker Recruitment Day.
Thank you for allowing me to do this. August 1st is National Poll Worker Recruitment Day. We plan on having a table downstairs and catch people as they're coming in. Last year when we did this, we recruited several poll workers. Y'all know November is coming up. We need lots of people, and we are very excited to see who will come and serve their community as being a poll worker. So if you know anybody or have family members that are interested, we would appreciate you sending them our way. Last week we participated in the Vet the Vote with Secretary of State. They did their kickoff here in this room, and we are trying to encourage our military veterans to serve as poll workers. We have a lot now that's serving with us, and we just want everybody that wants the opportunity to continue serving their community to come out and help us with these upcoming elections. So thank you.
Thank you for that update, Deidre. Board of Commissioners would like to present the Paulding County 811 Day Proclamation to Grady Hamilton and Art Brady of the Paulding County Department of Transportation Utilities Division. And I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas thousands of times each year, the underground infrastructure in Georgia is damaged by those who do not have underground lines located prior to digging, resulting in service interruption, environmental damage, and threat to public safety. And whereas in 2005, the Federal Communications Commission designated 811 to provide contractors and homeowners a simple number to contact utility operators to request the location of underground lines at the intended dig site. Whereas Paulding County Utility Coordinating Committee, a stakeholder-driven organization dedicated to the prevention of damage to underground utilities in Georgia, promotes the National 811 notification system in an effort to reduce these damages. And whereas damage prevention is a shared responsibility by using safe digging practices, the contractors and homeowners of Paulding County can save time, money, and help keep our infrastructure safe and connected. Therefore, I, David L. Carmichael, Chairman of the Paulding County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim July 23rd, 2024 as 811 Day in Paulding County, and to encourage contractors and homeowners throughout Paulding County to always call 911 before digging, because safe digging is no accident. So do we have these folks here? Grady and Art, are you here? So glad to have you all here. Does anyone want to say a few words? Or?
This is what I really.
You want me to say something real quick or what?
Yeah.
Chairman Carmichael, Board, thank you very much for proclaiming this 811 Day. We can't thank you enough. Your partnership is definitely valued, and this gives us the podium to basically spread the word that, and now more than ever, as these guys know, because they're out in the field every day, we're having a lot more damages, unfortunately. So again, please, if you're a contractor or another utility, please make sure your locates are done so we don't put people out of service and we don't harm lives, and we get to go home to all of our loved ones. But that's all I have to say, and I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
And your words are live streamed out into the community and the state, so it's not just the people in this room.
Oh, great.
So thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks again. We don't have any invited guests this morning. Under bid awards, we have none. Reports from committees and departments. We're proud to have Tanya Stein here, Fleet Maintenance Director, and give us our quarterly report from Fleet Maintenance. Tanya, thank you for being here. Good morning.
Before I start the report, I just wanted to say a few things about fleet maintenance. We got to celebrate 2 employees last year. Jason Walker, he had a kidney transplant, and he's doing very well. He's one of our mechanics. Also, our heavy equipment mechanic, John Austin, he retired March of 24 with 37 years of service with Paulding County. The past year's been very busy and challenging. I set my sights on making some positive improvements. 3 things that I wanted to work on was mechanic tiers and pay scales for our mechanics, service to our departments, and our surplus. Proud to announce that we did get our mechanic tiers 1, 2, and 3 with the salary study, so we're very happy about that. Now I'll go on to the report for fiscal year 24. Happy to announce that we're fully staffed. We have 2 shop supervisors, one that runs that's over our fleet maintenance shop, and one that's over our fire maintenance facility. 2 administrative assistants and 8 mechanics. Work orders that were processed in fiscal year '24 were 4,091 work orders for service and repairs. Gasoline and fuel that was used at the fuel station at fleet maintenance was over 425,000 gallons. We added 74 vehicles to our county fleet, 3 of those being fire apparatus trucks, Engine 1, Engine 3, and Engine 12, 20 pieces of equipment. We have a total of 673 vehicles in our fleet and 402 pieces of equipment. 116 vehicles have over 100,000 miles, 94 vehicles with over 150,000 miles, 75 of those belong to the Sheriff's Office. We have 34 vehicles with over 200,000 miles, 14 with over 250,000 miles, and 3 with over 300,000 miles on them. At this time, our highest recorded mileage in our inventory belongs to a DOT truck, Unit 109. It's a 2001 Mack truck with over 329,000 miles on it. Our oldest vehicle in our fleet is a 1985 Chevrolet bus. It's a mobile command unit that belongs to Fire EMA and is scheduled to be replaced this fiscal year. Now to the exciting part. Surplus and auction. So we donated a total of 8 Ford Crown Victorias to Georgia Public Safety Training Center. 94 items were sold on govdeals.com and added just over $200,000 back into general fund. Just to compare, fiscal year '23, we sold $34,000 worth of vehicles and equipment on GovDeals, and in fiscal year '22, we sold $8,400. So we've been busy. One thing that I'm going to show you really quick that I'm excited about. It will come up. We have 4 military trucks. Whoops. That I believe were acquired in 1993 through the GMA to the Sheriff's Department. They've been, let's see, the last record that I had that they were worked on was in 2002. So they've been sitting there in the tree line. And I ran into Sheriff Gullidge at the gas pumps and I said, last I heard, we couldn't get rid of these. And he said, let me give you a contact to GMA. So I contacted GMA. They ran the VIN numbers and they said, get rid of them the way that you normally would with your surplus. So a week ago, these are 1984, 1985, 1986, and 1987 Chevrolet D30s. Okay, some of them, they're in bad shape. I'll tell you, Friday night they went on auction. And I get excited because they're sought after square body Chevrolets. And we sold them, each of them sold for over $2,000 a piece. Brought in over $9,000 for all 4 of them. So that was pretty awesome. I do want to thank my staff at Fleet, and not just that, Team Paulding, because DOT has helped us move these vehicles out of the tree line. They've helped us load vehicles for our surplus, an auction. The Sheriff's Department for their help in sending us inmates that's helped us take all the decals off these cars. It's a big process. Stripping the cars. We don't want to have anything out there. We try not to have anything out there that has Paulding County's name on it, the sheriff vehicles and everything. So DOT and also Fire Department, they've helped us clean up the scrap metal around our fire maintenance facility. And from here, we're looking forward to 25 fiscal year. We're getting close to nearing the plans for our new fleet building, and we're getting excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tanya, thank you for being such a great leader. we were right in putting you in that position. You've done a great job. And let's keep using up those vehicles. As my brother tells me, drive it until the wheels fall off.
That's a good word. We don't have anybody that signed up for public participation on agenda items. Moving right into one thing that Tanya mentioned is consent agenda item 2. Declare the following items listed as surplus and approve their disposal through auction, trade, or donation to the Georgia Public Safety Training Center. And if you've got an agenda in front of you, there's just 2 sheriff vehicles, 2 2009 Ford Crown Victorias and with the serial numbers. I'm not going to read those numbers, but that's part of what you just got rid of, right? Got you. Okay. All right. That's. Would anybody like to move that one item to a regular business? I'm supposed to ask that. Hearing none or no response, we'll move on. We'll leave them where they are and move on to old business. Item 3 is a tabled item, 2024-02-SPSA. It was tabled from July the 9th, 2024 board meeting. Application by Joel L. Larkin of Sams, Larkin and Huff LLP, requesting to remove rezoning stipulation number 13 from prior rezoning case 2005-51-Z, which required the construction of a left turn lane from Ridge Road onto Ray Lee Road. The site includes an auto parts store, restaurant, a beverage, a liquor store, and an outlot. Property is located in Lynn Lot 261, District 1, Section 3, the south side of Ridge Road, just on the east side of Ridgeway Drive, and the west side of Ray Lee Road in Post 2. So, Ms. Lippman, did you have any remarks on this, or Chris?
Good morning. Yes, this was item was tabled from the July 9th Board of Commissioner meeting. If you're familiar, it's off of Ridge Road, just to the east of Villa Rica Highway, is a parcel there that's under development with a O'Reilly store, a liquor store, and a Wendy's possible, and an outlot. The 2005 stipulation number 13 required a left turn lane from Ridge Road onto Ray Lee Road, and that this application is asking to remove that stipulation. Last week on July the 17th, we met with staff, and Commissioner Caker was there and Commissioner Dunn, looking at alternatives, and we, for the first time, actually had all the applicants, the O'Reillys and the liquor store and the Wendy's, participate in this discussion. I think there were some ideas brought out there, and it came down to a matter of timing, and we have a follow-up meeting on July the 30th regarding some options out there. But I thought it was a very good meeting.
Thank you for that update and information, Chris. And the part that I left out is that the Planning Commission did recommend a vote to deny with a 4, 0, and 1 vote. New business. We're going to get into some public hearings here. The first public hearing is to receive comment concerning the fiscal year 2025 proposed budget. And Ms. Pollard is going to bring us some good information here, and you will be tested afterwards.
favorite time of year. This one looks a little different than some of the past, so we're going to talk about those reasons as well. But in the back, there's some handouts, and basically it's got all of the funds. So the budget that will be adopted is all of these funds that are included here except the enterprise. So we see about midway through, there's the enterprise solid waste. You're not required to adopt a budget for that, or the water sewer. These are just guidelines. So, but all of the other funds are governmental funds. There's about 18 special revenue funds, and basically you're adopting budgets with this for each one of those funds. Purpose of today is for all of those, but we're going to focus on general fund mostly because that's what gets the public's attention. A lot of your special revenue funds, those are charges for services, or they're fines that are dedicated for specific purposes, and those revenues fund those expenses for the most part. So we're going to talk about the general fund. We'll also touch fire and bond, and then if another part of that are your capital projects, so you have your SPLOST and your CIP. But again, operational wise, those are usually your capital projects, so they're used to purchase the item. And the focus of today traditionally has always been the general fund. So that's where my focus is. If anybody has any questions, though, it's definitely open to all of those areas.
Tabitha, can you tell us what CIP?
Construction in progress. So those are, and we've utilized that for the past 2 years. So we have quite a few large projects that are going on in the county, like a new fleet facility, maybe some animal control, some additional facilities, as well as other large projects. And so those funds, rather than being incorporated in your operating budget of the general fund, those have moved over to what's called the CIP, or the construction in progress. They'll be multi-year, so you may start 1 year and finish in a couple of years. Some of these projects, we know we won't complete them in one year. Okay, so 2025 revenue projections. Again, these are your general fund revenue projections. So I'm not touching on any of the other funds. I'm going to talk about some of the smaller ones, but we have the intergovernmental and we also have the investment income. Those are the two largest. Not going to spend so much time on those. The only difference in intergovernmental from this year to last year is if the intergovernmental, those are grants. So we are still in the business of applying for grants, receiving grants. We expect that number would be higher, but I would be amiss if I put a revenue in there when I didn't have the expenditure in there and it hasn't been awarded. So I don't have as much in there as I did last year, but I would anticipate that number would be every bit as high. It's just as the revenue increases, the expense increases. The investment income, interest rates have been higher. We've made a few investments. We've been able to receive more interest income over the past few years. We all know that that's anticipated to go down. So we have made an attempt to secure some of that by treasuries, to lock it in for a little longer so that it gets us through the next year. So we won't be quite so volatile to immediate decreases in that. Today I'm going to talk about the property tax. One thing different this year than last year is that, or in several previous years, is we're not required to have a millage rate public hearing. So, Mr. Chairman, you want to?
Yes. Tab and I were talking about this, and what I leave out, you can certainly fill in the gaps. Back in 1999, April 30th, Governor Roy Barnes signed a bill which was called the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. And one of the things that it addressed was you always have to have a budget hearing, a public hearing for the budget, but you don't have to have, if you leave the millage rate or roll the millage rate back to where there's no tax increase, then you don't have to have a budget meeting on the millage rate. So that's what our board will vote on in regard to millage rate that Tabitha will bring up. She's got a graph right there that shows that on the far right in 2024, we're lowering the millage rate to 4.1 mils. So that rolls the property tax back to where there's not an increase in your taxes for a certain value of home. You want to add anything?
No, I think you said it pretty well. There are several things that I wanted to mention, though, that are usually mentioned in those millage rate public hearings that probably shouldn't go not mentioned today, so I've added those into the budget portion, but the actual budget are the revenues and expenditures. I just think these are important for the citizens to know. So we are anticipating a rollback of 4.1. We are also rolling back debt from 1.2 to 1 mil, as well as fire from 2.3 to 2.1. So the property tax breakdown. So when you get your property tax bill, 17% of that, on average, goes to M&O, and that's based on the 4.1 mil. So basically, your 4.1 for M&O, bond is 1 mil, and fire is 2.1, and the school is 17.675. So that's the breakdown of the millage rates. One thing that changes this year is the homestead. In 2022, it was $2,000, and the board voted to increase that homestead over time, so we did a phase-in to get to $10,000. Last year was $6,000, and this year will be $10,000. So the value of that is at the bottom, the savings is at the bottom. As the millage rate, as you reduce the millage rate, the reduction to that, the total value reduces as well.
While you're on that, Tab, you mind if I insert something?
Absolutely.
I have a friend who didn't go in and register for their millage rate when they changed homes, actually. But if you're in the same home, and you're signed up for the homestead, do you need to go into the tax office? I know James is in the room here, but
As long as you are not changing locations, you do not have to apply for homestead but one time. But I am not the expert on that, so James Stokes, if I'm wrong, you correct me. Okay, one thing that's different this year is the homestead tax relief grant. So last year, the state gave up to $400 towards everybody's home property taxes. That was an ARPA expenditure, is what I understand, and that does not exist this year. So that's going to impact, and I've got a demonstration in a moment, our calculation as to how that's going to impact each and every one of us. But if you had a homestead last year, you had this grant applied towards your taxes. Okay, so the homeowner impact of everything that we've discussed, basically we had the overall digest value. So this changes depending on where you were. Some are more, some are less. Some may have seen reductions, but the overall digest had an increase of just under 4%. And so I did a value of home of $350. That new value would go to about $364. Round numbers, 40% assessed value would be the taxable value of $145,600. The homestead increased from $6,000 to $10,000. So your value in 2023 would have been $134,000. Your taxable value would have been $134,000, and the new taxable value would be $135,600. The next part of this is the millage rate and what we've done with it. So in last year's millage rate was 4.22. So your county M&O, and that's the only one I'm really going to touch specifically, is the county M&O at 4.22 for 2023 would have been $565.48. The proposed budget has been prepared on a 4.1, which is a $555.96 for the as far as the homeowner impact. You'll see at the bottom, after I've gone through, one thing that might be a little misleading is the school tax isn't impacted by the 6 and the 10. So the school tax is, I've only got it calculated on the 2,000. That is, and this gets touchy because everybody's exemptions are different. So these are just basic exemptions, homestead exemptions. At the bottom, the homestead tax, last year, total tax would have been $3,480, and you would have paid $3,080. This year, that tax doesn't exist, so the ending 2024 actual tax bill could total to $3532, and you don't have the credit, so the tax would be $3532. So that's just information that the citizens need to know. Not anything we can do anything about. That homestead grant was the state. It wasn't anything that we did, and it was there for one time, and it doesn't exist this year. County by county comparison. So Paulding is 6.2. We are lower than any of the, I tried to pull everybody that touches us or that had some similarity to us. And so we have the lowest millage rate of these other counties. And these are 2023 millage rates, so that's what's published. So, you know, they're all doing the same process, so they could be changing theirs as well over the upcoming couple of weeks. Another large income revenue that we have is the title ad valorem tax. So the title ad valorem tax is where we buy a vehicle, you pay the title tax in exchange for the birthday tax, what we used to pay several years ago. That we've seen a good bit of growth with the sale of vehicles, but that growth has kind of stabilized a little bit. It's not quite so up and down as you can see by the graph. Sales tax has stabilized even more. So in 2020 we had several increases. Back to the point of delivery was the location for the tax, so we were able to collect on online sales. That created a lot of change, but overall our sales tax is not reducing. We're not seeing any reductions, but we're not seeing the growth. It's kind of stabilized. Expenditures. So our expenditures, the budget as it's being proposed is with a 30% public safety, 21% public works, and 19% in general government. You have to remember that general government number includes several things that touch other areas, like any salary, all salary increases are included in that number as we go into this budget. They'll be divvied out throughout the year. Overall, the actual numbers that make up, so general government increased by 2.9. Your primary increase was 4.1 to public safety, and then you have quite a hefty capital budget. We know that we won't get to all of that capital expense in 1 year, but it's just to give the public an idea of what our capital plan consists of. And let me mention that in this public safety, those are a lot of those are positions. So last year we did not budget all of our sheriff's positions because we knew we wouldn't fill a lot of those, and this has everything. This has all of them included in it. Our salaries and benefits, our general fund budget this year is about 53%. That number would be more if your capital was a little less, but because our capital is where it is, our salaries and benefits makes up 53% of our budget. Operating expenses are 33%, and your capital is 14%. Specifically in the capital budget, we have the following items. So voter registration has some storage that they need for the machines. Government facilities has a few items, and the larger items are you have fleet maintenance, you have animal control, you have solid waste. We have quite a bit of work that needs to be done at the Ivy Gulledge site, as well as some closure and post-closure That number in total will be more than the $2.2 million, but in this year, as a phase into what we think we can complete, we've added the 2.2, giving us a total of $16,590,000 for capital for this year. Then I've included your additional personnel, so a large item to the budget this year was salary study. We went through that process, started last year, and we worked through it till about December, and then it took us quite a while to figure out how to implement it. It was pretty substantial. We also went through an enhanced retirement package that will hopefully help us to retain employees, and then we also had increased cost of benefits. So personnel costs have been fairly expensive and on the rise for this year. It made this budget a little challenging. The new positions we have are in government facilities, information technology, clerk of superior court, magistrate court, public defender, state court, sheriff's office, detention, transportation, stormwater, parks and recreation, and community development. So there are a lot. You have a lot in the court system. You have some in public safety, as well as public works and recreation. Paulding's growing, and the demands on services are expensive. And we get told, other things that we could do, and we try to do things better, and that's what this budget process is all about, is to try to make things a little better and to be able to give the citizens what they're asking for us to be able to provide. So we have a great group of department heads, and so we all work. Team Paulding is definitely put to use in this budget process, because we all work together to try to make those revenues as charge fees where we should charge fees, increase those costs, look at those revenues to be able to cover those costs so that we don't have to apply taxes towards something that should be charged individually, and keeping costs down. One thing that has been of value to me is just because it's in the budget, most of the time, we don't take the attitude, well, it was in my budget. We look for a lower cost way of doing things. And so if we can find that mid-year, we try to find that mid-year to be able to bring that in as low as we possibly can. And with that, unless I've missed anything, if y'all can think of something else that needs to be said, we'll open it up.
Would you go back to the page that has the comparison of tax bills on it?
Yep.
Yes, that one. Thank you. So I just wanted to point out, if everybody didn't notice, that your total before that $400 credit was really going to only be $50 more than what it was the year before. But because of that $400 state credit that we won't get this year, it will be higher. But also I want you to notice that almost $100 of that is school board. $100 school board increase. So really your county tax is less.
School board's increasing 100, and overall, you're going to get an increase of 50.
Right. And then on the sales tax, I don't think that people understand sometimes that when they shop online and they shop on Paulding, that sales tax helps us offset property tax. So we get the sales tax money from the online sales as well as the in Paulding County sales. So I'm just going to say, buy Paulding, and if you can't buy Paulding, buy online.
That property tax, there are two pennies. So one is a special purpose local option sales tax. That's used for what has been approved by the voters for projects. So roads and bridges, public safety, Parks and Rec, and there's an economic development piece. The other penny is used specifically to roll back the millage rate. And so if you we collect about $25 million in sales tax for the year, and our digest value is just over $9 million. So it's right at 3 mills is what we roll that back. If we didn't have that, the millage rate would be 7.1. So,
Great job, by the way, and I appreciate how hard everybody works to make sure that our budget is as reasonable as possible, and I look forward to seeing how we compare to all the other counties now that we've lowered our millage rate again.
one thing I didn't mention is this year we did go through a biennial budget process, and so while we're only having the public hearing for 2025's budget, but we have began the work on 2026 budget, so departments are already beginning to think about what that budget looks like.
So at this time, as pointed out, the budget requires a public hearing, the budget in general. And so at this time, I will call the public hearing to order. I'll open the public hearing for any citizens that would like to come forward and speak and make their comments on the budget. Is there anyone in the audience here that would like to share their comments? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and we'll move on to the next new business item. I was going to have Sergeant Biggs pass out the test, though. You have the budget test? Just kidding. Item 5 is another public hearing on the amendment of a multi-year communications tower lease with American Tower for the tower site located at 150 County Services Lane. And Mr. David Mumford, who's a 911 director, is going to speak to us on this. Thank you, David.
Good morning. This is part of the new P25 radio system that we're building. We have 2 sites that are going to be leased from American Tower. Both of those are the agenda items for today. And the first item, item number 5, is at 150 County Services Lane, which is right next to the landfill. There's an American Tower site. We have equipment on that tower site presently. We're going to put up new equipment from the new radio system. The old equipment will be coming down. And our lease for this tower, for this site, is $3,450 a month for American Tower. We do have some plans in the future that will help us migrate off of the lease towers onto towers that are owned by the county, at least one of these sites. But to get this system built and up, because of the age of our current system, we're going to go with these 2 lease sites. Our consultant recommended it. Tabitha and I have discussed it, and we think that'll be our best option for the short term.
All right, thank you for those remarks. And this time I'll open the public hearing on item number 5, the amendment to a multi-year communications tower lease. Anyone in the audience like to come forward and express your thoughts, comments on this item? All right, well, I'll close the public hearing on item 5. Item 6 is discuss action to authorize the chairman to sign an amendment of the multi-year communications tower lease with American Tower for the tower site located at 150 County Services Lane and being located upon Paulding County tax parcel 52.2.2.001.0 for the purpose of leasing tower space to hold equipment for the county P25 public safety radio system in the amount of $3,450 per month. And Mr. Mumford's going to again add to that and enlighten us on this item.
And so, like I said, this is part of the radio system. It's one of the sites that was identified by Motorola to create our 14-site radio system. And the tower site is American Tower. It's on county property. They lease the property from us, and they put a tower up, so we're leasing tower space from them. We currently have, our current radio system has equipment on that tower. And like I said, once the new radio system is up and running, the old equipment will come down. And the negotiated lease price for that site was $3,450 per month. The shelter and equipment that's not on the tower will be outside of their compound, and it's on county land, so we're only paying for the tower site. And the difference, we pay them something like $1,500 a month now lease, and so the difference between $1,500 and $3,450 is how much the lease is actually going up. We pay them for the equipment that's already up there, and the equipment from the new radio system is larger and more equipment, so it's why the lease value is increased.
All right, moving to new business item number 7. It's also a public hearing for a proposed multi-year lease for the tower site located at 1414 Tower Drive. Mr. David Mumford to further explain this before we open it up. Okay. County attorney has suggested I read 8, which is to discuss action to authorize the chairman to sign an amendment of the multi-year communications tower lease with American Tower for the tower site located at 14 Tower Drive and being located upon Paulding County tax parcel 140.1.4.018.0 for the purpose of leasing tower space to hold equipment for the county P25 public safety radio system in the amount of $4,150 per month. David?
This is the second American Tower site that's in our radio system. This is located at the Water Department on Macklin Road. There's a tower that sits up on the hill. The address is 14 Tower Drive. And we're going to be putting, once again, we have equipment on that tower currently. We're going to be taking that equipment off once the system is, the new system is up and running. And we're putting up the 800 megahertz P25 equipment. And this is part of the 14 tower sites for our new system. The negotiated lease amount for this particular site is $4,150 per month. And we're also, our consultant that's helping on this project has, like I said, has plans to hopefully migrate us off of both of those lease sites onto county-owned tower sites at some point in the future.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mumford. So at this time, I need to open the public hearing to see if any of the audience has comments or wants to make any comments on this. So the public hearing is open. Don't everybody rush the podium at once.
It's exciting for me, but maybe not necessarily for everybody.
So I'll close the public hearing on items 7 and 8. Okay, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, Virginia and I were at ACCG summer session this past week, and there was a lot of talk with the commissioners from all over the state talking about the P25 system. I think we did a great thing by investing in this system, just hearing from the other commissioners. And a lot of counties in the state are now looking at and starting their implementation of the P25 system. So good job for bringing that to us. There's a lot going on in the state of Georgia with that P25 system.
There is. It's expanding pretty rapidly through the state. So.
Also, just echo Sandy's remarks and thank you for your work and your teams, your whole team. It's going to be great. The county's going to be a lot safer. All right, I already closed the public hearing. We had further comments. Anyone else have a comment on the panel? Thank you, David. Item 9 is discuss action to authorize the chairman to sign the grant agreement with the Georgia Department of Agriculture in funding for the Paulding Spay-Neuter Program in the amount of $4,000. Ms. Tabitha Pollard.
Timing couldn't be better. After the announcement that the animal control had earlier for us today. But we did receive a grant from the Georgia Department of Agriculture. We applied for more than this, but we were awarded $4,000. They had to spread it out among everybody, and so this was our portion. This will allow us to spay or neuter 50 animals. So animal control will be able to benefit from that, hopefully through the animals that they have on site, or they may have some availability for the public. But I would imagine most, that according to what I saw, it looks like they have enough on site to fill those, but it will hopefully help reduce the population in the future.
Thank you. And you're up next also on item 10, which is discuss action to sign the contract with Tyler Technologies to implement an enterprise asset management system in the amount of $64,800.
We have currently used our enterprise system, which includes finances, utility billing, several different modules since 2004. In that 2004 issue, when we looked at it, they did not have the asset management piece that they had, did not meet the needs of what we needed at the time. We couldn't necessarily make it work. It didn't have enough capabilities to do what we were looking for. Last year, we upgraded to an enhanced version, and they had made significant improvements in their asset module. And so we were grandfathered in because we had had it for so long, so we didn't have to actually purchase the module. Those modules can be expensive. So we were fortunate for that, but we would like to use, to contract with them for implementation. So implementation of that to make it all talk so that everybody gets what they need can be tricky, and so an implementation team would be beneficial to us to be able to do that. The water system is in desperate need of an asset management system. They're required by North Georgia Water Planning District to have an asset management system. And so this starts that process for them and for us in other areas to be able to collect data. We expect that David Mumford will be able to use it with his radio system. And this will allow us to schedule maintenance. So schedule maintenance on that. Right now, maintenance, we have some routine maintenance that comes up, but I mean, it's more reactive than proactive. So this helps get us to proactive rather than a reactive nature. The contract is $64,800.
Is that a one-time?
Yeah, that's fine. That was the first.
It is one time. It is one time because we already had the module, so we already have the. All we need to pay for is the implementation, and so we just have to implement it one time, and then you have maintenance that will come after that. But
Will it cover every asset management need that we have in the county, or just specific ones? Have we determined that yet?
we do not think it will cover every asset management need that we have in the county. But it will give us the ability to gather the data so that in the future, when we are ready to implement, we will be able to have the data ready so that we can convert it, import it, and we will be functioning faster than we would today. If we purchased an asset management system today that did have every component that we need, then we would be a couple of years out before we could actually use it because we've got to gather the data to go into it.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Other comments, questions? Thank you, Tabitha. We're getting close to the end here. It's not even 11 o'clock. Item 11, discuss action to authorize the county to participate in a nationwide settlement agreement regarding opioid litigation with Kroger in conjunction with the state of Georgia, and authorize the chairman and the county attorney to execute all documentation related thereto. Mr. Jason Phillips.
Commissioners, as you're aware, much of the country has been impacted by the abuse of opioids as well as the overprescribing of opioids and negligent procedures in place regarding the distribution of opioids. In the last several years, many people, well, for a long time, people have been impacted. If you haven't been impacted, you've probably seen it on documentaries as to what the opioid and the pharmaceutical industry have been involved with in regard to various medicines. And beginning about 2 years ago, we had entered into a national level settlement agreement regarding opioids. 2 years ago, you all approved the county entering into a settlement agreement with some pharmaceutical distributors or manufacturers, McKesson, Cardinal Health, AmerisourceBergen, and Janssen Pharmaceuticals. Last year, we entered into a settlement agreement with Teva, Allegiant, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart, and we have been asked by the state of Georgia as to whether or not the county is willing to participate in a national level settlement involving Kroger. So it will run along the same lines in the past. What happens is we enter into a settlement agreement, and pursuant to that settlement, funds are paid out to the state, and some of those funds make it to Paulding County. We use that money, and I know that we can't use it for just anything. We have to use it for opioid treatment, opioid education, various things related to the problem that will curb potential future health problems. I know for a fact that we've used it at the county level to purchase Narcan for our first responders. Narcan is a medication which, when somebody is suffering from an overdose and perhaps is on the verge of passing away, they get injected with Narcan by first responders, and it brings them essentially back to stabilization. It is a last resort, but it has certainly saved some lives all over the place, including Paulding County. So far, we have brought in $1.1 million pursuant to the previous settlements, and we're asking for your authorization to allow us to go ahead and settle with Kroger and participate in the settlement to see what that will bring. Be glad to answer any questions.
Jason, I hate to admit it, but I didn't read the backup material. I just knew you'd describe it so well. Seriously, though, is this more for recovery, reimbursement of a past problem, or you mentioned education? Is it more for in the future?
The idea is that because of the overuse and overprescribing of opioids, the people of, we'll just talk about Paulding County. The people of Paulding County, the county itself, particularly in regard to its jail operations, county tax dollars have been spent on treating problems that arose out of opioid use. The idea moving forward is that these monies will be used to help mitigate and prevent and correct problems moving forward.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Jones, did we save the best for last? Discuss action to approve a project funding allotment increase in the amount of $110,000. And that is for the completion of the Mud Green Road Culvert Replacement Project. And the company is Precision 2000 Incorporated. The allotment increase will be funded by the general fund, and this project's located in Post 2. George Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On December 12, 2023, the Board of Commissioners approved awarding a culvert replacement project to Precision 2000 in the amount of $812,021.60 for the Mud Green Road Culvert Replacement Project over Mud Creek, which is located in Post 2. The project consisted of replacing existing rotted, rigid, corrugated metal culverts with 3 aluminum arch culverts side by side. The NTP notice to proceed for this project was issued on January 30th, 2024, had a 1-year completion date of January 29th, 2025. During the course of the drainage project, unsuitable soils were identified within the project limits that required removal, not over the pipe itself, those were taken care of, but adjacent to the pipe. The unsuitable soils, like I said, require being removed, and additional rock, GAB, graded aggregate base quantities, filter fabric, that were not originally accounted for in the project plans and cost estimate. The supplementary amount needed to complete the project is approximately $110,000, which is 13.12 of the total contract amount. The additional work would not have changed the low bid contractor for this project. If approved, general funds will be used for this allotment. And answer any questions if you'd like. We'll say that this project is about complete right now, so it's done in about half the time that we gave it. The contractor did a good job out there, pursued the work, quite happy with the progress. We'll get some drone footage of the before and after and have that available for y'all to see and post on the website.
Questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Jones. Thanks much. All right, we don't have anybody who signed up for non-agenda items. This is kind of our open panel time for comments and announcements by the commissioners.
I was going to say, tonight at the Cotton Gin restaurant, there's going to be a trafficking seminar done by our Attorney General Chris Carr and his wife, and that's going to be at 6:30. It was last night. Sorry, missed it. Okay, never mind. Well, thank you for the women for doing that, and the Republican women for putting that on and inviting them to come and speak. So, okay, I missed it by a day.
Mr. Chairman, since Terry Tibbetts is here, I was going to introduce something, but since Mr. Tibbetts is here, our director of the Paulding County Airport, Terry, could you please come up and you can introduce? And by the way, Terry is playing Mr. Grader today, so he says he's not... He did put on a good shirt for us, so.
Okay, this wasn't planned and wasn't part of the agenda, but this morning as I was walking around the airport, I was just kind of overwhelmed by all the construction simultaneous projects that we've got going on out there. So I shot a very unprofessional video using a very poor radio voice on that and sent it to Chairman Carmichael, and I understand you're going to allow us to see that. Is that the
roll it
idea? Okay. I just wanted y'all to see what's going on out there.
Good morning. Today is July 23rd at the Paulding County Airport, the Paulding Northwest Atlanta Airport. Today we have Recon Carolina starting the steel erection for the T-Hangar building known as South T-Hangar 3. Just across the way you see the building they just completed, which is South T-Hangar 2. And we've got Lost Mountain Electrical inside there putting in the wiring even as we speak. Just to the north we have Southern Pipe and Grading doing the final grading work for the removal of 500,000 cubic yards of dirt that's been removed. You see one of the off-road trucks coming around the new driveway that'll be coming into the back of the parking lot when it's all said and done. C.W. Matthews will be receiving about $1 million grant to finish the paving on Airport Parkway Extension. And in the distance to the east, you see where Aviation Development Group, whose principal is Thomas Huff, is going to be building 20 corporate hangars starting later on this year. Here's our beautiful terminal building that's going to be the centerpiece of the new airport when it's all open here in a couple of years. We will have, when it's all said and done, about 50 hangar units. In other words, we can park about 50 private aircraft on this side, separated by the terminal building, and then the corporate section of the airport where our corporate aviation is going to be centered. And we anticipate about 20 hangars to be built over there. Again, those will begin to go vertical very soon. So our contractors, again, we've got ADG, principal is Thomas Huff, C.W. Matthews, a major paving company in our area. We have Southern Pipe and Grading, owned by Mr. Tim Stoker, who's been out here working for about 3 years now on various projects. We have Lost Mountain Electrical, which is the principal there. The owner is Mr. Scott Bailey. We have Recon Carolina, our steel erectors, owned by Mr. Johnny McNamara. And our prime contractor on this project is Bain Construction Company. And we are very proud of all of our contractors. They're all working hard, doing great work. And this airport is in the middle of a $20+ million expansion that, when it's all open, is going to produce, estimated at somewhere north of $200 million a year in economic activity for Paulding County when all of these buildings are fully occupied.
Thank you.
Glad to answer any questions.
Yay, Terry!
Well, it's a team effort. The support not only of y'all, but all the people in the room here. We interface with everybody in the county for water, for accounting that Tabitha does for us. George's help on, he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be pretty involved on this C.W. Matthews project when we start putting asphalt down. Even though my daddy used to own an asphalt company, I didn't learn a whole lot because I was only 6 years old when he sold that. And so, George, I'm going to need your help to make sure that that all gets put in exactly as it was designed and per plans. The water department's getting ready to move the utilities. Just everybody has been so helpful, so supportive. And I mentioned that number, $20 million. That's spread over about a 5-year period. Most of that is state and federal, as y'all know. But y'all have contributed an awful lot of money over the past several years, and it is about to start paying off big. These first two T-hanger buildings, I'll go ahead and advertise it here that I'm planning a ribbon cutting day for our next board meeting of the Airport Authority, which I believe is the 21st of August. And that first building, I believe, will actually open, if everything stays on track and this rain holds off, probably around the 1st of September, and the second building will be right behind it. Commissioner Dunn, your help on getting Bain under contract and teaching me how to use this Easy IQC contract. What a great vehicle. You knew that. You had to convince me of that. But I'm convinced this has been the easiest construction project for something of this size that I've been involved with in my 40 or 50 years of doing this kind of thing in other lives and wearing different kinds of hats. But I've done a lot of building, and this truly was everything that you advertised it to be. Ms. Caker, I could not ask for more support. You are my commissioner for that area. Virginia, you're such a great help on the political side. Dean, I need to get to know you. I got to figure out how I'm going to use you. I use everybody. And Dave, your 100+ years of experience in aviation has, in every aspect, from your military background, your professional piloting, your work with GDOT, we couldn't have done it without you and all of y'all. And of course, the legal world is what helped us survive the Delta years. And so here we are. We have emerged. We have survived. And today we are thriving. And thank y'all so much. What a beautiful asset this is going to be for this county when we're done.
Cherie Dunn didn't know I was that old.
What was that?
Cherie Dunn didn't know I was that old. Hey, wait one second.
Thank y'all so much
What?
for allowing me to do
Terry, and it only took 5.5 years
5.5 years to do what?
to get to this point.
Well, it was 8, but okay.
5.5 for me.
Oh, okay, 5.5 for you.
Starting with the lawsuit.
We've been turning the corner since 2016. So it has been a long, hard-fought battle and long road. But we're headed downhill on that road very fast now, and it's great to see the progress this county is making.
Before you walk away,
for it.
yeah, before you walk away, Where are you going to get the airplanes to put in those T-hangars?
They're on my waiting list right now, which has now passed 140. I don't like to name individuals in public without their permission, so I won't. But there is a local business owner in Paulding County who has taken delivery of a 2024 brand-new Cirrus this week, and he is going in one of those hangar units. And is my tax assessor still here? The list price on that airplane was $1.5 million. So it's not quite as good as the G650, but 100 of them would be, and or even 50 of them would be. And so those are the kinds of airplanes. That's actually our third Cirrus now that's going to be based at the Paulding County Airport. Those are high-dollar assets, and the whole exercise that Tabitha just went through on taxation only gets better when this airport gets built out and we start seeing all of the tax money that comes in from the assessment of the value of the rolling stock that we're going to be storing out there.
Well, thanks for making that video. That's kind of a surprise.
It was for me, too.
Yeah. My comment was going to be on the school system. A week from Thursday, August 1st, school starts back. I know you won't believe it, I've got 10 grandchildren in the public schools. And so let's drive safe and keep all our children safe. You got anything today?
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
We have a special visitor today. She's getting ready to go back to college at Sanford. Go Sanford! I'm one of Grace's biggest fans, Grace Dunn. She is now going into her junior year, and I am so proud of you.
Thank you. All right, no executive session today. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Galloway. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Caker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We stand adjourned. Thanks again for being here, folks.